This is Astro Candy here, coming at you with a little bit of a guide right now. I'm gonna do a little bit of a hero guide slash breakdown, and kind of give you my perspective and why I do what I do versus watching what some of these other guys do. Um, I'll use my heroes as an example right now, and I'll show you why I have things upgraded the way I have them. So we're going to be primarily focused on these hero gear pieces that all your heroes will eventually have, whether they're orange or purple or whatever they may have be, or if you're in a newer state or an older state, how these progress. So right now I have the chest piece and the gloves at level 100 on my infantry hero. And that's because they give me infantry health, which is very important when doing world battles. So, for example, like fighting a beast or a polar terror, that's where that additional health comes in. And from that, from my piece being level 100, I'm getting 60%. Now, it's 60% because I have it at level 2, so it's 20% more stats. So it's actually 50% stats at level 100 with no upgrades. Now, you see me focusing on the health pieces because for the infantry hero, the health is way more important for them. They're all about scaling for the infantry, making sure they don't die so they can tank more damage. Versus, like, let's go look at some troop stats real quick. If we go look at the troop building, I can show you exactly what I mean. So if we look at the details, it says infantry defense is 13, infantry lethality is 10, and infantry attack is 10, and infantry health is 15. So when we boost the health stat on our gear, it makes this health value a lot better. Now let's look at a archer attack. An archer attack has an attack of 14, significantly less health, significantly lower defense, and significantly more lethality than the infantry hero. So that just means health scales better on the infantry hero, and lethality scales better on the marksman hero. Now, if we look at the cavalry, they are a in-between. They don't quite have 10 like the archer does for health and defense, so they're just a little bit tankier in that sense. They're not quite as strong as an attack or quite as strong as lethality, so they're not quite as strong as the marksman as well. But if we look at the special skill, increases damage dealt against archers, and 20% chance to bypass infantry and deal direct damage to archers. Therefore, making the lethality a better stat for the cavalry. And on like day 6 or something, we have Hero Gear Day coming, and I will only be leveling up the important pieces for each one of my heroes. So for example, this infantry health, I will be mastery forging it with my forge hammers because it means more. Me having more lethality on my infantry doesn't mean that much, but it's the opposite for your archers and your cavalry. So you want to upgrade the lethality because health doesn't mean quite as much on those heroes and units. And then I would like to get into widgets a little bit. How widgets are used is there's attack widgets and there's defending widgets, and I believe they only work within a rally. So if you are rallying to attack a garrisoned spot, or a sanctuary, I believe they're called. Yep. So if we were attacking fortress number 3, we would want to try to use heroes with a rally increase, because we are rallying a point. That means the rally's attack will be increased by 7.5%, and that is multiplicative, not additive. It's not plus 7.5% stats. It would be, let's say, 200% attack times 7.5% would be 215% attack total at the end of the day, is how that works. Now, if we go look at something like Saul, he has a defending one. So if we are garrisoning it and me and my alliance are inside the fortress, then our defending troops get plus 5% attack. So that's something you should really think about while you are sending a march to either rally or garrison. Now, that does change depending on the spend level you're at. If you're more free to play low spender, you're more than likely going to be a joiner. Therefore, you're going to want to send heroes that are going to help the rally or help the garrison. So if you're rallying, typically you'll send something like Chanko, because her first skill gives more lethality, which is a good buff. And if you're defending, you'll send something like Gordon or Howard, because they give damage down, or Howard or Gordon gives health up. So those are also things you should consider. Now, let's talk about Arena. Arena uses your hero gear to help increase their stats for when you're fighting somebody. When I challenge somebody, let me use Conquest for this. When I'm in here, the gear I have equipped on my heroes gives them buffs. Like if we go back and we look at the gear, this is giving my hero attack 278, hero health 270, 2700, 22, escort attack, which is the little guys, and escort health. So this will also buff that. So it's important when you're doing Conquest or thinking about Arena that those are two very different things. Because I might be stronger marching against a player, whether that's a rally or hitting their city or something like Swordland, but they could be spending more on heroes inside and distributing evenly, which would not be as good. Like, let me find an example here. We'll do this top guy right here. If you want to think about it this way, you can think about it like this. Okay, maybe that top guy's not a good judge of character. I know there's some people in here that do it. For example, right here. Right here, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets of mythic gear. Now, you got to start thinking of cost. One, now you're spreading XP around 5 sets of mythic gear, which is a lot. And you're also now using Forge Hammers on 5 sets of mythic gear, which is also a lot. You got to think, just to go to this level 3, you have to spend 10 stones for level 1, 20 stones for level 2, 30 stones for level 3, increasing by 10 for every level going on. Now, if you want to think about it, So right here, 60 stones. 60 stones for every single one of these pieces. Another 60 stones for all those pieces. Another 60 stones for all these pieces except that one. Now, if he were to save these stones, that, like right here, that's 34 chammers, 64 chammers, 94 chammers, 124 chammers. And then he did it on another set of gear. That's 244 chammers. Well, if you focus on a primary march, your primary march will be much stronger, but it will make you weaker via arena. Like, I can't beat him in arena. Like, he is actually in my state. I've talked to him a couple times, and he's strong. I can't beat him in arena, but in a 1v1 march, I can beat him or hold my own. So that's something important to think about on what you want to do. If you're not worried about trying to win 1v1 marches, or if you're not worried about trying to rally, then it could be okay to kind of spread your gear out like that to try to be getting the better arena score, to get the coins, to buy the good items in the shop, like the mythic piece, the forge hammers, and now the new thing, Mithril. And I just opened all my hero gear earlier, but the math for hero gear is about every 100 hero gear crates, you should get about 1 legendary piece. And with that, if I were to take this and mastery forge it to level 10, there's going to be an additional cost to go to level 11. Not only will level 11 be 110 forge hammers, but then it's also going to want to consume mythic pieces of gear as well as a requirement to ascend it to level 11. And then, for example, we are at 100 on this piece. We can go all the way up to plus 100 again, so it'll be plus 200 essentially. But as you can see, it's going to take 2 mythic gear pieces to unlock this next tier. So we could give it the 2 mythic gear pieces once it's reached level 10, and we can go to plus 120, which will give us another 20% infantry attack. Now, what you really want to get to is plus 60 for the defense. So you'd want to go to plus 60 on this piece, and then you'd want to go to plus 60 on your gloves. Because, well, no, you wouldn't want to go to plus 60 on your gloves. You'd want to go to at least plus 20 on the gloves. And I don't think, yeah, I can't see it yet because those ones aren't up. But each one of these will have a variation of this. So for the infantry, we're still looking for defense. So the plus 60 would be a sweet spot to stop and be like, okay, we got the defense. That's what we want. We're really not worried about hero attack or infantry attack. And then just like on this other piece, it's the opposite. We get our plus 20 infantry defense right off the gate. So we can kind of leave that alone until we have enough to take it all the way to 100 and get that additional plus 50%. And I believe I'll be able to show you with Marlin as well. Like right here, our plus 20 gives us hero attack, which is really good for us. And then plus 100 will give us another thing of attack, which is also good for us. But 100 is really expensive. So you'll want to play the game of finding out how much is the best way to get it. So we would want to go plus 20 on that first piece, and then we could go to plus 60 on this piece, and we would get 30% more attack as well. Along, like, defense never hurts. And then we would want to prioritize taking this piece to 100 for the attack, because we want to focus lethality and attack for the archers. And that's kind of the gist, and that's kind of the rundown I have. This might be kind of a messy video. First time making a guide. and I might have bounced all over the place. But if you enjoyed the video, if it helped you out, leave a like, subscribe, comment if you would like, and that's it. Astro Candy out.